So we have a ChatGPT workbook. It's called Leads on Demand, Train Your AI, your ICP. In order to get started here, just remember, get your ChatGPT session up and running. We'll also have this workbook, Train Your AI and Build Your ICP. Today, I thought this was going to be two separate classes. We're actually going to take both of these modules and put them into one session. This should go somewhere between an hour and a half. We did a dry run with our brokerage about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it took about an hour 15, but that was with 6 people. So with, I think, a few more, it might take a little bit longer. Yeah, so why don't we just get started here? In terms of questions, since we are going to have a bunch of people on this call, if you wouldn't mind, just raise your hand whenever you have a question, and we'll make sure we get to it. Definitely open to having a discussion here. Keep it lively. We've got awesome representation from the Denver business community here. We have let's see, a fractional CFO. We've got the great Corey Williams, real estate extraordinaire. Tracy is on the beach in Cabo. So good to see you, Tracy. And so we got people from all over here. So why don't we just get started? So I think, before we even jump into any ChatGPT, any training, any of like the main stuff, I think, one of the main things that I at least want you guys to take away from this session is that AI is more than just a search engine. Okay, so if you're using ChatGPT, it's like, okay, what's the best restaurant in Denver, or where should I go to eat in Florence or whatever? You're just scratching the surface of what AI can actually do, right? And so what we're going to do is take a quick step back and think about how these models actually work, and so that way you can better understand why we're doing this training that we're doing. And so ChatGPT is what's called an LLM, or a large language model. And what that means is they've taken billions and billions and billions of phrases, typically from the internet. The amount of data, if you read the books and kind of how much they use to train it, is absolutely insane. Like, they basically had ChatGPT train itself on the internet, because like that was the only data source big enough to train the AI. And so what they've done is they've trained these large language models on basically patterns in words, right? So it's not necessarily smart in that it doesn't know, kind of like we know that 2 + 2 = 4. Yeah, I mean, maybe we just know that inherently. The way that LLM models work, though, is for the most part they know that they're trained, like when you see the formula 2 + 2, the best most likely answer is 4, right? It just so happens that 4, and so it doesn't really calculate per se. It more just says, okay, based on the data I have, what is the highest probability response that I'm going to have that's going to be correct in the future? And so the main takeaway here is that in order for ChatGPT to give you good data or good output, you need to put good input into it, right? So the more data, the more language, the more words that you're taking from your business, your personality, what you're trying to do, and the more you talk to AI and train it on you and your business, the better the output is going to be. Little nerdy, but I've spent probably 20 hours in the last 3 days talking to AI because I'm working on some other coding stuff for our team. And that's how much time I spend with AI, typically probably about 4 hours a day, whether it's working on my business, working on coding projects, working on stuff, recording transcriptions, creating SOPs. We're using AI extensively at Blue Pebble. And so the reason why we're able to get some of this data is because we've trained our models on it. And so this is just kind of your first step in getting that training going. And so part 1 is going to be about how do you train your AI to at least give you some initial output. And then part 2 today is going to be, let's use AI and the initial training we do to develop our ideal customer profile. So, this is called Leads on Demand. The goal here is basically to create marketing content, whether it's, marketing pages, coming up with grand slam offers, value stacks, videos, reels, articles, emails, follow-up text, whatever it is. We're going to be able to get our AI to do whatever we want to do. But before we have it output anything, it's really important that it knows, okay, who are we? What's our business, right? And then number 2, who is our customer that we're trying to talk to, right? If we don't know either of those 2 things, of course, we're going to get that garbage output, right? So I guess quick show of hands, right? So how many people have gone into AI and they're like, okay, and I know I've done this before too, but hey, I'm at an open house and I just met a client. What's a good follow-up email to send this person I just met in an open house? And the ChatGPT comes out and it says, okay, well, hey, so-and-so, thanks so much for coming by our open house. It was so good to meet you, and I look forward to working with you as your agent. Something like totally benign general, right? I mean, quick show of hands, that kind of like, you go in, you're like, oh, what's this whole AI thing about? You punch in something, it gives you some general garbage, and you're like, oh, that's not all that smart. Like my fifth grader could have done that, right? Like does anyone else have that experience, right? It's because it doesn't know anything about you, right? And so one of the main things, and kind of here's what I want to do. So we're going to calibrate, and the goal of this initial part is just to show you guys kind of how you can calibrate your AI. And just by calibrating it, you can get some incredible insight in terms of your business. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, and I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into our AI session. Okay. So just to show you guys, I've cleared the memory. This is a different AI. I do not use this account for day-to-day stuff. I typically only do it for demos. If you ever want to have fun with AI, one of the things you can do is ask it, what do you know about me? So that's what I just did. And I just want to prove to you guys that I have not prepped anything, right? So I'm basically starting this conversation just along with you guys as if, I'm like you and haven't trained my AI yet, right? So I just opened up the session. As you can see, it's today. And I'm like, hey, what do you know about me? Because I didn't tell it anything. I don't want it going and leading a session. And it doesn't know anything about me. Yeah, Corey, what's up?
Oh, you're going to get tired of calling on me today. So I have trained this quite a bit.
Yeah.
So is it okay for me to just hop in just a new session with what it already knows about me and my career?
Yeah, I mean, if you've already trained your AI, I only think this could help you, right? So I'm more doing this to show you kind of what happens if you're going from 0 to hero, But if you've had AI training or you've done AI training, one of the things to keep in mind, Corey, is like it's only going to be trained on that which you've done with it so far, right? And so one of the things that this might help you do is go through another aspect or another dimension of your business. We're going to get vulnerable with our AIs. I know that might be a little scary for some people, but it's about to happen today. We're going to talk to our AI marketing therapists. And so, if you get vulnerable with your AI and give it the information, you're going to see a difference in data. So I do think, Corey, it'd be interesting to see how this goes for you, knowing that you've already trained it a little bit, and just kind of see the evolution. This shouldn't matter whether you're at 0 or you've been doing it for years, kind of like I have. But I'm just doing it here as like a brand new session for you guys. So first step of the class, first thing we're going to do is open up your workbook, okay? And in your workbook, there should be something at the top. We're going to scroll down, but you're going to see there's a baseline elevator pitch, okay? And the way this is going to work is I've tried to give you guys all the prompts that you're going to need so you don't have to do a lot of typing, okay? So what you're going to do is select this basic prompt, okay? Select it from your workbook. You're going to go back to your AI, right? You're just going to paste it directly into your AI, okay? And what you're going to do here is change it to whatever, whatever you're going to be, right? So today, I've got a couple different things. We've got a lot of real estate brokers on here. So I'm just going to say, based on what you know about my business as a real estate broker, please write a 250-word elevator pitch that includes a powerful hook, describes what I do and why, in a way that makes people more likely to want to get to know me, right? Isn't that the point of an elevator pitch? Okay, cool. So like Greg, you're probably saying fractional CFO. Geesey, you're going to say wholesaler, just replace it with whatever you're doing. Okay. Once you get that pasted in, once you get it done, hit enter. And, we're not going to share. We did a lot of sharing in our drive one. We probably don't have a ton of time to do that. So we're just going to be more asking for feedback. And unfortunately, if you're on my screen, I might call on you. So I'm looking at Shannon, Nate, Corey, and Greg is just kind of who's up on top of me. So I might pick on you guys a little bit. So let's see what your AI output says, right? And so my AI confirmed that it didn't know anything about me. I just told it that I'm a real estate broker. Okay, cool. And, it gives you some compelling thing, right? Okay, as a real estate broker, I don't just help people, I help them move forward. Whether a first-time home buyer, family outgoing, I guide my clients through every step, right? Strategy, insight, and heart. Sets me apart. I dig deep. Yeah. Okay, yeah, got it. With years of experience in insert local market, so this is okay. It knows that we're looking for an elevator pitch, but I mean, does this really resonate with who you are or the business that you want to do, or even that client that you want to work with, right? Even here, it says like, we don't specialize, I don't just help people move. I help first-time home buyers. I help families. I help investors. I help everyone, right? So like, this is all very general marketing meant to see a general audience. So has anyone else, is that a similar, generally kind of raise your hand? I mean, generally the same kind of feedback from this elevator pitch so far? Kind of? Yeah. Corey, even yours, it was trained. And you still got something pretty general? Is that what's going on?
It asked me a few questions because of my other businesses, and so asked me what it wanted to focus on. But yes, I'm actually getting quite a bit more detail, but it did kind of create something similar.
Okay, cool. So what you're going to do then is just, you don't have to do the copy and pasting. Your ChatGPT will actually save the conversation. So the cool thing about logging in is that these conversations over here on the left will save. So you don't have to do it. If you want though, you can basically copy this response and you can put it in your workbook right here just to kind of see your progression. Okay. But what we're going to do now, and the thing that's really fun, is we're going to start to train our GPTs. Okay. And so if you go into your workbook, there's going to be a section 1 where basically we're going to teach ChatGPT the what of our business. Okay. Don't worry about anything else. We are warming you up. This is not AI marketing therapy time. Okay. This is just all very surface level type stuff. Okay. And if you go into your workbook, you have another paragraph here where it says step 1, teach your GPT your what. Okay. And if you go through here, we're just going to go through and make changes to our prompts, right? So I'm going to change this to a real estate business. So I'll do this with you. You guys can follow along. So I want to train you on my real estate business to help me create better content, messaging, and offers. Maybe it's fractional CFO. Maybe you're a managed service provider looking at you, Grant. So other kinds of things that you're doing, right? I help type of client in whatever. So let's say I help, today I'm going to focus on, I help clients, financial advisors, and probate attorneys in Denver. We'll just say Denver Metro with buying and selling homes, right? Cool. I work as I'll just say what I actually am. I'm a brokerage owner. You can put in your own title here. So I work as a brokerage owner. By the way, the cool thing about AI is typos are sometimes okay. As long as they're not that bad, it can actually figure it out, which is pretty fun. If you're ever just like dictating your AI and it autocorrects, it's kind of funny how it knows sometimes the autocorrection was wrong. And then, like we said, we already said Denver, but our business is based in Denver. And goes from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. Okay. My clients say I'm really good at blank. When I was in production, everyone said I'm really good at math. So I'm really good at property valuations and negotiating. Cool. Those are 2 good things for real estate agents to have. What makes me different from other brokers is something about your process, mission, or philosophy, right? So, this is where you can start to get a little vulnerable, but we're going to keep this pretty high level and surface level. Okay. So we're not writing it's not a resume drop. We're not giving it everything that we possibly can. We're just going to give it a little guidance on the what. So what makes me different from other brokers is I have a mission to increase housing accessibility by lowering transaction costs through my integrated brokerage model. Sweet. Little plug for Blue Pebble there. All right. Integrated brokerage model. Great. All right, cool. So, and I misspelled accessibility. We're going to leave that though, because I told you that spelling doesn't really matter with AI. Okay, cool. So has everyone, for the most part, gone through and filled out now this first initial step 1 prompt? Yep. Nods. We good? Sweet. So once you fill out step 1, what you're going to do is very easy. You're going to go back and you're going to go into your ChatGPT session. Okay. Disregard some of these other comments. If you don't mind, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see more. Actually, I'll zoom in so you can see that maybe. Let me do one more. Maybe I'll stick with that. Okay, cool. So what you're going to do is you're just going to paste this into your ChatGPT. Don't worry about answering any of the other questions that it had you from the last time, and you're going to hit enter. Okay. In theory, hopefully, it's AI, so you never really know how it's gonna react. But in theory, it should give you some response like this: "Got it. Thanks for sharing. I can now help you draft. Would you like me to revise your elevator pitch?" You didn't really give it direction on what to do. So a lot of times when you give AI a prompt without like a specific ask, it'll just say, "Okay, got it. Like, what do you want me to do with this information?" So hopefully you guys all got this. One of the other good things you're going to see is it might say up here, updated save memory. And so if you're new to ChatGPT, what's really cool is that if you log into your ChatGPT account, you actually have a memory bank. And there are certain things that you will say to your GPT, like, okay, cool, remember this, remember that. And if you have space in its memory bank, it will remember that, right? So that way, no matter what you do in the future, it will kind of know, okay, this is like persistent data, static data that I need to keep in mind, right? If you're ever getting like, let's say your business changes, or maybe you're working on, I don't know, like maybe one day you're working on like a client follow-up thing, but then the next day you're going to a different division or business line or something like that. And you're like, well, this is more related to what I was doing before. It might happen that you have updated or saved memory in like one business division, but not in another. And so you just might need to go back and check out your memory banks. You can do that in your settings. That's more of a 201 kind of thing. We can get to ChatGPT memory on demand, maybe in session 4 or 5 or something like that. But for right now, we've got our memory. So now we've kind of introduced our ChatGPT to our what. Okay, cool. So after we introduce our ChatGPT to our what, now what we're going to do is we're going to start introducing ChatGPT to our why, right? The most important thing for us in our elevator pitch in our business is not the what, right? It's the why. And so if we're going to build a compelling elevator pitch and teach ChatGPT about the business that we want to be doing, even as an engineer, 40-something male, I have to say, you have to get vulnerable with your ChatGPT, okay? If you're going to get vulnerable with anything, you can get vulnerable with your AI. It's totally okay. No one knows about the data. So we're going to kind of show the heart behind ChatGPT, or show our heart to ChatGPT. So we're going to go through this exercise, okay? And so if you go to your workbook, you're going to see here that you can scroll down to now section 2. This will be on a separate page, right? And what you're going to do, and I'll do this with you, right? So, we can take a few minutes, but what I want you to do is now give it more detail, okay? Once again, you don't need full paragraphs here, just like enough information to give ChatGPT, some background in terms of who you are, what you do, why you do, and all about that, right? So I'm just going to fill it out for you. This is a very vulnerable moment for me. So I thought about quitting real estate when, let's see, when did I think about quitting real estate? When our bank accounts hit 0 in 2018 after a really tough winter. But I stayed because we were really getting great feedback from clients. I love helping people. Oops, sorry, I'm going to try not to say it as I go, but you guys can see what I'm writing. Okay, so I'll zoom in here too so you guys can see what I'm writing. But I thought about quitting real estate when our bank accounts hit 0 in 2018 after a really tough winter. But I stayed because we're getting really great feedback from clients. I love helping people through difficult times. And honestly, it felt like there was a lot more for us to do in the space. So that's why I stayed on in real estate. The vision of me I'm becoming runs a business where, describe your 1 to 2 year vision for myself, for yourself, right? So in 1 to 2 years, the vision of me I'm running runs a business. The vision of me I'm becoming runs a business that just works. Clients are coming in and excited to work with our brokers. We are delivering value upon value upon value. We are achieving our mission of increasing housing affordability. Our agents are living the lives they seek, and things are working great. I don't know, something like that. That'd be a good vision, right? Clients, value, help our agents. That's exactly what we want to be doing, right? I'm doing this for person, cause, or past self, even if they never know it. So that's an interesting question. Talk about getting vulnerable. I'm doing this for the version of myself, myself, fired from Wall Street and private equity, and wants to use that knowledge to help everyday people. For those of you who don't know, I basically quit, but both times. But quitting is a debatable topic at that point. So, okay, cool. I wish every client that blank. I wish every client understood that blank. Honest truth you want to tell them before they hire you. So this is where we get to be vulnerable again with our ChatGPTs, and it doesn't necessarily have to show up in our client stuff. But I wish every client that worked. I wish every client that understood that a lot of the work we do, and your real estate agents better be nodding after this, happens behind the scenes. Even if I'm not texting or calling back, I'm still working for them. And there are no fire drills in real estate. Right, real estate agents? We're always doing work in the background. It's all good. And I'll get back to you. And there are no fire drills in real estate. I think that's a good thing. If all of our clients knew that, that would be really sick. Okay, cool. So hopefully you guys have all gone through and done the same thing. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this entire section. So you're going to include this paragraph at the bottom, and you're going to go up here. And then you're going to also make sure you get the version at the top, right? We want to make sure we get the entire prompt. So your workbook here is this entire prompt. Okay, you're going to go back into your ChatGPT, and then you're going to paste it. And let's see what it says. Well, I didn't get that. Hold on a second. Did I get the whole thing? Oh, you might need to pay. Whoa, that's weird. Mine did not copy. That's why. I was like, what the heck? All right. Copy. Nope. Wait, what is going on here? I love being on video. What's going on, ChatGPT? I don't want a voice. Oh, sorry. I pasted the wrong information. So thanks for the confirmation. Like, okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay, I got the wrong one. All right, now let's paste the right prompt into there. Okay, and now we're sharing our why. And ChatGPT should, in theory, be giving us some output now on the why that it said. So let's wait for a second. While mine's coming back, curious. Is everyone kind of getting the same thing? So thanks for sharing that. It's powerful. It gives you some feedback, but it doesn't really output anything yet. It's just kind of storing in information. You might have seen this updated save memory, right? If you want to do what I'm doing and kind of roll your cursor over updated save memory, it'll also show you a summary of what it's saving, which I think is pretty interesting. So it doesn't save your exact information. It will actually summarize it to itself and then save that version to its data banks, which is pretty cool. Okay, cool. So now we've got this and we're still going, right? All right, so now let's go back to our workbook. Okay. Now, let's lock it in. And I know you're not supposed to test anything on a live recording the first time that you're doing this for a huge group of people, and we're still going to do it. Okay. So this is a new freebie for Nate, who didn't get this in the dry run last time. But if you go to your book, okay, there's going to be a section that says section 3, lock it in. And then you're going to see a prompt right here. It is not the italics. It is just the regular section. And this prompt says, I'm about to prompt you to write a short elevator pitch for me. Without writing the pitch or giving me any hint about how you might approach the next question, what is one question you have for me that you think would help you write better marketing material for my business? Okay, so we've given it some information, which is really cool. And now what we're going to do is we're going to now prompt it. Go back to my workbook. We're now going to prompt it with this prompt. Okay, so let's go back. Let's give it the prompt. And now let's see what it says. Now, hopefully, you get some very simple question like this. So what do you want people, and it could be totally different. So like, I don't know, I mean, like I said, I'm going to pick on you, Nate. So Nate, what did your ChatGPT, what question did it ask you?
What is the one feeling you want every potential client to walk away with after hearing you speak about your business, whether they hire you or not?
Sweet. So I got a question about feels too. Did everyone get questions about feels, or was it other stuff? Feels? Feels? Lots of feels. Ashley had feels. Sweet. Kemper? Feels?
What transformational or breakthrough you've helped client achieve to make you feel proud and remind you of why you do this work? So kind of feel.
Feels. All right, cool. We'll tell you what, why don't we all now take it 30 seconds and give our computer some feels back? Okay, so it's asking for feels, or just answer the question, right? So if it didn't ask you about feels, totally cool. But let's answer the question. So for me, what do you want people to feel after they hear your pitch? Trust, inspiration, curiosity, relief, something else. I want people to feel empowered and excited about a process that is normally I want them to be curious in my background and story and interested in getting to know me. Notice the typo, doesn't matter. Okay, cool. So it says, perfect, that helps a lot. I'll make sure your pitch frames it as possibility, not pain, curiosity. Cool. Are you ready for the next elevator pitch? Do not say yes. Do not say yes. Now, what you're going to do, right, is go down here. And you're just going to take this paragraph, right? Now, based on what you know about my business. Okay, we kind of did this a little out of order. I apologize. But like, we're just going to do this. Now, based on what you know about my business. So you're going to copy this. And you're going to paste it. And there's only one rule here before you hit enter. You have to say, you have to put the exact same thing into this prompt that you put in for the first question that we did for the workbook. Okay, so if you said real estate broker, put in real estate broker. If you said real estate agent, put in real estate agent. If you said fractional CFO, put in fractional CFO. This only works if we're asking for it to go back. All right, now let's hit enter. And let's see what it says. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think this is a lot better than what I got before. So let's just compare it, right? So here we go. As a real estate broker, I don't just help people move, I help them move forward. Whether it's a first-time home buyer stepping into a dream, family outgrowing their space, or investing in building their future, I guide my client. That was the original section, right? For me now, let's see what it said. You know, most people think buying or selling a home is stressful, expensive, and full of uncertainty. I get it. I've lived through hard seasons too. 2018, my family hit zero in our bank account. I almost walked away from real estate, but the one thing that kept me going, the people, the clients who trusted me during their difficult chapters and told me I helped them through. Today, I run a real estate brokerage that serves clients from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins with a special focus on those referred by financial advisors and probate attorneys. We work with people at key life transitions, and we make those moments easier. Clients tell me I'm unusually good at valuing homes and negotiating outcomes that protect and grow their wealth, but what really sets us apart is our mission to make housing more accessible. By lowering the transaction costs to hold people back, we do that through an integrated brokerage model that puts service, not sales, at the center. Behind the scenes, my background shapes how I think, but I use that knowledge now to help everyday people. I built this business for them and for the vision of me who once had the door slammed shut. If you're looking for a broker who does the deep work quietly, advocates fiercely, and turns painful processes into empowering ones, I'd love to connect. I mean, I think that's a way more impactful elevator pitch than whatever the general stuff was, right? I mean, anyone else mind blown a little bit here? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Is this when half the people leave? They're like, okay, what is this AI thing that Jared's doing? Okay. Okay, cool, got it. It seems like no one left yet, which is great. So this is your initial breakthrough, right? And I see Chuck is in here. Yeah, I love that, Chuck. People do think of commercial insurance as a necessary evil. So I think that's probably right. But yeah, so this is your first kind of breakthrough with AI, right? If you were to just say and use it like 95% of people, hey, write me an elevator pitch for my real estate business. Okay, cool. Here's some general stuff, right? But if you take 30 seconds and go through and build a real prompt and have a real conversation with your AI, you can start getting some really impactful things. Okay. Excellent, Shannon. So Shannon, did you get good results too? Did this change from your initial elevator pitch to this one?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Wow. Sorry, Shannon, I'm gonna meet you. Okay, cool. So okay, now we're moving forward. So if minds are blown, just wait. This was your elevator pitch. Okay, so we're going to move on to part 2 now, which is now taking this elevator pitch and really doing some of the deep work with our ICPs. Okay. Actually, sorry, before we do that, I want to show you. Oh, is that a sec? Yeah, I apologize. There's an extra page in the workbook. I just figured this out. Like I said, first time going through. So we're going to skip through this page. Don't worry about it. And now we're going to go to Blueprint Builder Part 2, Know Your Ideal Customer Profile. Okay. So here is going to be a slightly more in-depth prompt, but what we're about to go through is inspired by a new passion of mine, learning more about Hormozi's Grand Slam offer construction and Russell Brunson's funnel marketing, right? So the process that we're about to go through was inspired by those people. It doesn't follow their exact process. And so basically it's a distilled down version where if you picked up the book, which I highly recommend, it's called $100 Million Leads. $100 Million Offers. The next one is $100 Million Leads. It changed my perception on marketing. And so I just think it's really awesome. And so this is kind of like, when I was reading the book, I had my ChatGPT up while I was kind of going through and doing all the exercises. And this is basically what we ended up doing over the course of like 8 or 10 hours. But you can do it a lot faster than that if you kind of know where you're going and know how to train your AI. Okay. So the AI that you have right now is trained up on your business. Now it knows what you do and why you do it. The next step is it needs to know more about your customer before it can generate any sort of marketing information or content that is related to your customer. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is go through and have AI build our ICP, or ideal customer profile. And we're going to do that by really putting ourselves in the position of our ideal customer, in terms of their pain, their dream outcomes, their limiting beliefs, their emotional drivers or triggers. Okay. So if you scroll down now to, I believe it's page 6 in your workbooks, you're going to see a very in-depth kind of prompt here. And I want to get you guys ready to go. So that way, when we go through and paste it, you're going to be in good shape. Okay. So if you go down in the second paragraph, we can just review the prompt together. But now that you know a lot about my business and a lot about me, I want to work with you to develop an ideal customer profile for my business. And by the way, if you're like a real estate agent, right, we have multiple ICPs in theory. I've got a first-time home buyer ICP. I've got a probate ICP. I've got a divorce ICP. I've got a move-up buyer ICP. I've got a right-sizing seller ICP, right? I've got a military veteran ICP, right? You've got all sorts of different verticals that you can go into. And for right now, you just want to focus on one, right? Because the whole point of marketing is the lesson we learned was if you market to everyone, you market to no one. And so instead of marketing to all these ICPs at one time, I'm just going to pick one that I want to focus on. Okay. And so for right now, I guess, I've been doing a lot of work with Tracy on right sizing. So we're going to talk about right sizing clients. Okay. So clients who are referred to us by financial advisors who are in the process of selling and downsizing basically and getting into something else. Okay. So serve more, let's say, elder families, right sizing, downsizing into so I think if you get a little specific here, this will help. You also don't want to get too specific. So I've been working a lot with one of my agents on a military veteran ICP. And, while that individual specifically was looking at a very tight list of kind of enlisted ranks, you don't want to go so small as like, well, I only work with E7s and E8s, right? If you kind of know what that means. At that point, you can kind of say, okay, got it. Like, we're talking about senior military people that are retiring or moving. So like, why don't we build an ICP built around, general veterans who are in process of retirement, whether it's retirement from the military or retirement from another job. There's still a lot that you can kind of cross over. So one of the things you want to think about when doing ICPs is you want it to be big enough to support your business, but you also want it to be specific enough where you can touch these people. And so that's always one of the problems that you have whenever you're building an ICP profile. All right, cool. So, we want to help families right sizing. Please use the following information to build a complete profile. Okay, this includes pain, desires, drivers, whatever. And we're just going to go through and do this one by one. The thing that I want you guys to keep in mind here, though, is that, we really want to try and like dig into their actual, like, not what we perceive their problem to be. I mean, obviously that's what we're going to kind of say. We really want to put ourselves in the position of what are these people actually experiencing, right? So let's kind of throw out our perceptions. Let's do a little bit of empathy work here, right? And let's really put ourselves in the position of where these people are emotionally, right? Their frustrations might not be real estate, right? Their frustrations might not be having to hire an accountant. Their frustrations they could be frustrated more around why are people hiring an accountant? They're probably hiring an accountant because their books are in terrible shape. They might have gotten a call from the IRS and now they're in this mode of like, oh my God, I need to have an accountant. And it's not like someone wakes up every day and like, you know what? I feel like hiring an accountant today. This is a great that rarely happens. It's because something happened, right? So the frustration is oftentimes not around the product that you're selling. It's around the life circumstance that they are experiencing, right? And so if we can put ourselves in the life experience or the business experience, that'll help us generate better marketing language, right? So let's just go through this. So their number one frustration right now, and I know Tracy's going to have her own opinions here, but she and I can hash that out next week. But I think one of their number one frustrations is they have a lot of stuff. They don't know what to do with it. And moving represents entering a final phase of their life. So it's a bit overwhelming. I think that's the issue that I deal with senior people, like seniors who are selling their home, right? Like when they're 80 years old, selling that house, moving into assisted living or independent living, like this is kind of like end of life preparation, right? So I think the frustration, is like, they're frustrated about selling, they're frustrated on cleaning, but it's always in the backdrop of this kind of overwhelming, life transition right now. Okay, so why does our ICP feel stuck? Well, they feel stuck, uncertain, or overwhelmed because there's a lot to do. they're leaving a home in which they have roots, and they don't want to make a bad decision. I think it's another thing. Like at that point in time for people, like, you know, they're definitely through a bunch of retirement for the most part. They're worried about money. They're worried about outliving their money. They don't want to make a bad decision. They want to optimize as much. They want to make as much money as they possibly can in their sale, because this might be one of the biggest asset sales of their life, or at least the remaining parts of their life. So there's a lot to do. They're leaving a home which they have roots, and they don't want to make a bad decision. A persistent problem they haven't solved is what to do with all their stuff. I think this is what we hear all the time. So what to do with all their stuff. They're going from a big house to a smaller one and figuring out what to keep, donate, throw out, etc. is a huge task. That tends to be one of the biggest things that we get on our team when we're dealing with people in this situation is, hey guys, we really need to sell. And what do we do with all this stuff? This is going to take us months, you know? So I think this is definitely one of the things that pops up over and over again. Okay, cool. So this part was identifying pain, right? Because remember, when you're in sales, we want to either take people away from pain or toward pleasure. If you had to pick between the two, avoidance of pain is a much stronger emotion than pursuit of pleasure, right? So you always start with pain whenever you're building the ICP, instead of starting with the dream outcome, right? So knowing our client's pain, if you had to know one or the other, knowing their pain is way better for you than knowing their dream outcome, okay? But now, since we've identified their pain, we're also going to start talking about their dream outcomes, because it is a transformative experience working with you. And so you want to make sure you can prove to them this transformation of, you're in this place that stinks right now, and working with me, I can get you to this place that I know you want to get to, right? So what do my clients want most? My right sizing clients. They want to be done. They don't want to go through their stuff anymore. They don't want to worry about moving. They're comfortable in their home. Okay. So what they want most is they just want to be done. They don't want to go through with their stuff anymore. They don't want to worry about moving. They're comfortable in their home, and they know it's not a forever home, but they'll miss that comfort while moving, and they want to get it back. So I think that's what they want most in terms of my people. And like I said, this is where we're getting vulnerable, right? Like, you have an opportunity here to go as deep as you want in terms of your ICP. And I would argue the more detail you give it at this point in time, the better your marketing language is going to be that we kind of generate going forward. Okay. And so what would success feel like for my clients? I think success feels like relief, maybe, or comfort. It's probably not a process they wanted to go through. Okay. So now the third thing we're going to ask about in this part is their dream scenario, right? So let's think about their dream scenario. And I think once again, this is not often the product, right? I've dreamed about having the best accountant ever. Yeah, right. I mean, sure, you want that, but really the dream of having a great accountant is so that your books are in great shape. So when you sell that company, you know, you get like 5x, right? What you were going to get if you didn't have your books in shape, right? Or maybe you solve that tax problem. You don't have the tax man on your back anymore. It's not about the product. It's about what is that product going to give you? That is the dream outcome, right? So let's just kind of write that in here too as our third thing. Their dream outcome. Oop. Being settled, being done, and enjoying that first glass of wine on their new patio. Cool. All right, cool. Are we all good? Are we all through pain and dreams? We all been filling this out? Any questions so far? No? Cool. All right, we keep going then. So what we're going to do now is step 3 here is what we're going to do is what's called uncover limiting beliefs. Okay. So I think one of the classic examples for first-time home buyers, if you're working with a first-time home buyer, is that you don't need 20% down to buy a house, right? And there's been more information about this coming out over the last few years. So like I think more buyers are educated that you can get away with not putting 20% down. And 10 years ago, it was way less common to get these like down payment assistance programs and stuff like that. And so a lot of buyers we dealt with, or we're talking, we're like, oh, Jared, I really want to buy. I just don't have the down payment. Like, well, do you have a job? Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk, right? I mean, we can figure out your down payment. If you have a job, like we can figure out pretty much anything out, right? So I think one of the things that we need to think about is, what do they believe that's keeping them from taking action? What myths, fears, or bad advice are they going by that as a professional, don't apply, right? And so this is about showing them hey, maybe you don't know everything. Maybe there are things that I can show you as a professional behind the curtain. So let's kind of work together and let's get interested in working together. Okay, so if we go back to our workbook, so let's just answer a few questions about limiting beliefs. So for my clients, once again, are right sizing sell their home, they haven't taken action because let's see. They're worried about the effort to clean up their homes, get their stuff out, and they know they'll move. All right, they believe myths or fears let's see. Well, what's one myth or fear of people right sizing? Well, they've got to maximize they're worried. The real estate let's see, I'm trying to think. So for me, they're one of their fears is that the real estate professional they hire is only going to care about the commission and not in the sale, not taking care of their home. Let's see. They believe they'll be judged for not having a perfectly updated home, and that's not a problem if they hire the right people. Okay. So let's talk about their past negative experiences, right? What past negative experiences might they have had with this situation? Now, for me, you typically only right size once. You're not going to right size, then upgrade, and then right size again. So the issue is not around right sizing per se. Here's where you can go to, past negative experiences with your product, right? Or maybe other professionals that even if they haven't gone through it before, they've had some past negative experience or, some past negative belief, right? So the past negative experiences include, let's see, real estate professionals. So let's say they weren't professionals. They didn't call back, didn't follow up, didn't give good advice. Let's see. What other negative experiences would someone have? Their friends just tried to sell their home in the neighborhood and it sat on the market for a while. So they're worried about the cash they'll get at closing. Okay, right. Cool. We're almost there, guys. I promise. We're almost there. This is gold. You're gonna see why this is so impactful. Okay. And Greg, I have not tried using Copilot yet. I'm a pure GPT kind of guy, but I've heard it's pretty cool too. So, all right. So let's jump into now section 4, which is our last section. So these are going to be emotional drivers and triggers, right? So like, what is going to push them toward this action? Is it pride, i.e. achieving this dream outcome is going to give them the sense of pride. Like, oh my God, I did this thing, right? I got my books in shape. I sold my business. I'm the man, right? Or is it going to be relief? Hey, Jared, this house, it's so big and I can't get up the stairs anymore. And I need a main floor, I need a main floor primary. I almost said the M word. I got to figure this out, right? So is that relief or is it pain? Is it status, security? Like, why is it, right? I mean, if you're thinking about working with investors, a lot of investors have a feeling of pride and like building generational wealth and security, right? That's why you buy a home, buy real assets. So, let's really give some thought as to like the emotional drivers behind what's going on with our people. Okay, so the emotions pushing my people, right? So just my customer profile right now, the people right sizing. So we're going to say the emotions pushing them are, let's see, nervousness about the future, an understanding the time has come to do a move, overwhelmed by all the stuff they need to move, and excited that this might unlock a new chapter in life. There's a lot of those emotions, right? So I think if you can give your GPT like a variety of emotions, that also helps create some complexity around your marketing language too. Okay, real life events that trigger them to act include, let's see, they can't get up the stairs anymore, right? Hey, Jared, my bedroom's upstairs and I need a main floor now, right? Let's see, the house is too big. Maintenance problems are too much. The kids aren't coming by anymore. Let's see. Maybe it's financial, like needing to monetize equity and get into another facility or home. Okay. Deep down, they want to feel or prove. This is always a tough one, but I think we can all think about it, right? So deep down, right? And this goes to the motivation and the life event likely taking them through versus like the actual buying or selling of the product that you're doing. But deep down, they want to feel comfort. They want to feel pride as they age, and they want to know and they want the security being in their new forever home. Whew. All right, that was a lot of work, right? Cool, but worth it, I promise. Okay, so if you guys have jumped ahead, don't share yet. But what you're going to do is you're going to copy the whole thing. This whole thing. All the way up to the top. So you're going to have, starting with now that you know a lot about my business, all your answers, all your stuff, you're going to go all the way down. Oh my God, look at all this information we just put together. We're going to copy this. And then we're going to go over to our ChatGPTs. And we are just going to paste this. Okay, so we've given it background for the process. We've given it some information, a lot of it. And we're just basically saying, now at the very end, right, what we're asking you to do is write an ideal customer profile in under 250 words that capture who they are, what they struggle with, and what they're hoping for. So I can use this to build content. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going for it. We're going to take all this information We've given it the background about following Hormozi's process. We've given it the pain, the dream outcomes, the limiting beliefs, the emotions, and we're just going to say now output a summary of my ideal customer for me. So hey, ChatGPT AI, based on all this information, who am I selling to? Who do I want to sell to in this market? All right, let's paste, everyone. See what happens. I love when AI gives me like feedback. Absolutely, this is rich, emotionally resonant foundation, right? Hell yes, AI. I'm glad you see it that way too. We're aligned. Okay. All right, so as you can tell, part of the reason why I chose this client is because I am not them. I think one of the most interesting things that happened with our workshop last week was that when we went around and shared our ICPs, they were mirror images of the people who were giving the ICPs. Okay, which is totally cool. Like, ironically, this process oftentimes helps you sell to yourself, the person that we are most blind to, right? Like, okay, like that's kind of an interesting revelation. But one of the things that I wanted to show you, at least in this case, was that I am not a right sizing person yet. Okay, like I'd like to think that I have a few more years before I have to worry about that. And so I am not yet in the stage of life. And so I tried to build an ICP for you guys where it's not just me selling to myself. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is share my ICP for you. And I'm just curious whether or not you think Susan, who I guess this is Susan, came up with whether or not you think this resonates for my client, right? So absolutely, this is rich. Here's the captures the heart of your target client. Meet Susan. She's in her late 60s or early 70s, recently retired or caring for a spouse who isn't as mobile as they used to be. She's lived in her family home for 30 plus years, raised her kids there, celebrate holidays, and knows every creak in the floorboards. But now the stairs are hard. The house is too much to mount. The idea of right sizing feels both necessary and heartbreaking. Susan feels stuck. Every corner of her home is filled with memories and stuff. She doesn't know where to start, and she's overwhelmed by the thought of making the wrong decision. She's heard horror stories about agents who disappear, homes that sit unsold, and buyers who don't see the value in a home that hasn't been recently renovated. What Susan wants is to be done, to be settled in a smaller, easier home where she can feel peace again. Her dream moment, sitting on the new patio with a glass of wine, knowing it's finally behind her. But fear still lingers. Will she be judged? Will the agent care? Will she get a fair deal? Deep down, Susan wants to feel secure and respected. She wants a professional who sees the whole picture, someone who understands this is more than a sale. It's a life transition. And if she could find someone who makes the process smooth, honors her story, and takes care of everything, she'd finally feel ready to let go and move forward. Oh my God. Mind blown? A little bit? Yeah? I mean, how about, I'm just curious. I don't know if we have a ton of time to like share ICPs right now, but like raise the hands. Like how many people are kind of blown away by whatever description they just got from ChatGPT? Is that like, yeah, resounding yes from everyone? Like this is the power, right? Then I'm just curious, of those people that just raised their hand, how many of you have ever taken the time to write a 2-page prompt to ChatGPT? Okay, Adam has. One. Fine. Okay. Adam the exception, as always, right? So I think here's what's really interesting. This is a very simple exercise. And if I wasn't leading you through it, you could do this in 15 minutes yourself for other ICPs. So imagine how quickly you could start like getting language and marketing language out for your ICPs. Okay. So what we're going to do now is now that we think our AI, I'm just curious, does anyone have an ICP that is not aligned with what they want to be doing? Really, Nate? What happened?
No. I misunderstood your question. No.
Oh.
Mine was perfect.
We're aligned. Okay. So no, okay, here's another thing. We have 17 people on this call. All 17 are like agree with whatever this output was. Okay. I would take 17 for 17 on any given day, right? So it's about the process and how you work and talk to the AI. It's not just like what AI's capabilities or limits are. Okay. So let's go through and have a little bit more fun with this. And now I'm going to like get you excited for the next session, which is going to be at the end of May, and kind of start showing you where we can go with some of this stuff. Okay. And then in the next section, what we're going to do is go more deep into the actual generation of content. And what I'll do is take you through how to set up your own Google pay-per-click campaign and set up your own landing pages. So that way you can basically have your own landing pages with copy that resonates. I'm currently doing our first ICP for property management. I'm getting a 20% click-through rate on property management ads on Google. And for those of you who know PPC marketing, a 20% click-through rate is insanely high, which means that the marketing we're doing is resonating with people. And right now, I'm just optimizing conversion, right? But to get 20% click-through rates shows that you are creating the marketing that you need for your people. Okay, so let's just jump down.
Hey, Jared, before you move forward, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Of course, buddy.
One of the things I just did to throw it out there to see what it would do was I asked it, what else do you need to know about my business related to the ideal client profile? And I've actually done 2 now in there. So it gave me a whole list of questions. How many times did you go through something like that? Because it seems like you could just keep refining. What was the level of follow back into that you've done?
I've found that after this process, I've done now 4 or 5 of them. I found it's pretty good. So I think sometimes, you can always iterate. I think that's one of the other things about AI is like, there is like, at some point, the next additional thing will have less weight than whatever it was already trained on, right? Like,
Right.
if you give it 5 data points, if you give it 6 data points instead of 5, you give it 20% more data. If you give it, 21 instead of 20, that's only 5% data. So like, I think at some point, the question you're going to have to ask yourself is like, am I seeing like the depth get built? At some point, the AI can't go deeper, I think, on an emotional level. And so like, if you feel like it could still go deeper, then maybe it's worth iterating. But if you feel like it's a pretty deep analysis, like this one, for me, hit pretty hard. Like, I'm good, so.
Okay. Yeah. Because some of the questions it asked, like pricing structure and some of that, it feels like might be too much.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like it depends on what you're doing it for. Like if you ask it, hey, what else do you need to know about my business? It might be thinking about more generally like, okay, well, what are we doing with this right now, right? And so I think what might happen is what you're going to see in the next few prompts, like you can play with this a little bit, and that might help you get some better results for sure. Nate, what's up?
Yeah, and one of the things that Adam kind of made me think of too was as you use ChatGPT or any AI for that matter that's like this, it's going to start learning more about your business as you go forward. So when you start doing these prompts, and I've run the same prompts since I was in Jared's first class doing this, right? And so I was like, well, hey, wait a second. Based on everything that you know about me, or I pulled in a blog that I had written up, right? And it changed and tweaked that message a little bit about my ideal customer profile. So as you go forward, it's going to learn more about you. Think of it as your best friend that you're still getting to know, right? The more information that it finds out from you, from your other prompts, from other chats, it's going to start understanding your business. So as far as giving it all of the details, what you think your business is, it's going to figure that out in time, but you have to use ChatGPT in that way. So anyway, I'm out.
No, I appreciate that, Nate, for sure. Well, and to Adam's point, let's go and do our next exercise here. Okay, so I think we're going to play around with this ICP a little bit, and so here's something that I'm just going to show you guys some examples, right? So let's say that your ICP was written and you're like, okay, that's really good. Susan sounds like exactly the person I want to be working with. I would say like, I don't know what was really wrong with this. I feel like it's a pretty good ICP. So let's just see what other suggestions I have. Make it more confident, disruptive, helpful. So I guess I'm going to go with helpful, right? How would this ICP be rewritten if I wanted to sound more helpful? I don't know. Let's see what it says. So to give you some logic, to sound more helpful, it should shift slightly from observation to understanding and empathy. So, ready for simpler, more manageable. So the words change a little bit. So there you go. You can play around a little bit. All right, now let's go on to our next prompt. So the next prompt is going to be this. So once you're happy with what you have for your ICP, you're going to copy this. So using that ICP, write 3 different marketing messages that capture their problem, desire, and limiting beliefs. Each should be emotionally resonant and under 50 words. Okay? And now you're going to get to see where we start going with this. Ooh, fun with AI. Okay. Here are 3 emotionally resonant 50-word marketing messages. All right. Problem focus for the right sizing client, right? You've built a life in this home, and now the thought of sorting through decades of memories feels impossible. You're not alone. We help families move forward without getting lost in the overwhelm. Hey, Tracy, how does that sound? I know we've been working on this ICP. Does that sound decent? Tracy still here? Do this, Tracy? Okay, we lost Tracy. Okay, desire focus. Imagine the moment it's all done. Your things are settled, your home is sold, and you're sipping a glass of wine on a new patio. We're here to make that moment real. And then limiting belief focus. Think your house isn't market ready. That's a myth. You don't need perfection. You need a guide who sees value in your story and not just square footage. Boom. Okay, kind of cool, right? And then look, it automatically knows kind of where we're starting to go, right? So would you like versions tailored for email subjects, postcard copy, social media? There's some other bonus things that I'm going to show you guys here. So, all sorts of different things you can do. And this is where we're going to go get into it on the next class. But you can say like, all right, what about 3 headlines and captions? If you want to write a short video, if you want to create conversational DM starters, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're on some website or you're seeing someone post and you're trying to figure out how to open up a conversation on social media. Create a before to after story structure, right? Use client testimonials. Let's see. You can use it to generate ads, social posts, reels, whatever, all the whole things, right? So how about we do, how about this? Please write a script that I can use as a reel post on my Instagram. I would like to introduce myself to the market and helping people in this situation without sounding salesy and showing as a guide and knowledgeable. Don't judge my spelling in real estate. Please make this consistent with my elevator pitch and the tone of my ICP. Oh, I forgot to tell it however many minutes or seconds, but you can also do that in your AI, right? So you could say, write a 2-minute script based on normal conversational speeds of someone doing this, right? You can do all sorts of things. You can get as crazy as you want, right? And so I'm just going to show you guys kind of what this output is. And then after this, we're going to open up for questions. And I think we're approaching the end of part 1. So hopefully I've teased a little bit about what we're going to be doing on the next stage, because this sets the groundwork for getting the leads on demand, right? So without going through and really understanding your business, your ICP, and the person that you're marketing to, you cannot create marketing language that is going to resonate with them, right? So we got to take this profile and take this work, and then what we're going to do is convert it into landing pages, Google Ads, all sorts of really fun stuff. And I'm going to show you guys some systems that you can do to use that. So real quick, as closing out, So this would be a real script. So hey there, if you or someone you love has been in their home for 30, 40 years and you're just starting to think it might be time to move, but where do I even start? I just want to say I get it. Sorting through a lifetime of stuff, leaving the home where you raised your kids or built your memories. It's not just a move; it's a big life transition, and honestly, it can feel really overwhelming. My name is Jared, and I run a real estate brokerage here in Denver. I work with families, often through referrals from financial advisors who are facing this exact moment. My role isn't to pressure or push; it's to guide, to help you understand your options, reduce stress, and get through this chapter with clarity and peace of mind. If you're starting to think about that next step, even quietly, I'd be honored to be a resource. No pressure. Just a real conversation whenever you're ready. Cool. Here we go. So hopefully at the end of it, you kind of have this ICP. Now, the really, really, really cool thing is that ChatGPT will oftentimes not remember exact conversations that you have from time to time. So if you get out of your ChatGPT session, right, and then open up a new one and start a new conversation, it might not exactly remember like what your conversation was. That being said, if it was storing the memory of all the things that you gave it, you should be able to go on to the next prompt and say, hey, ChatGPT, based on our last conversation, what is my ideal customer profile that we're writing to? And you can confirm your understanding with ChatGPT. Mine currently has 7 ICPs. So when I log into it, I'm like, hey, today we're talking about our property management ICP. Oh, by the way, I nicknamed my AI. Its name is Kit, K-I-T-T. So I would just highly recommend also the more you talk to your AI, you're going to want to nickname it. So feel free. It's totally cool. Like totally cool. You're not a weirdo, or maybe I am a weirdo. I don't know. But nickname your AI. I think they appreciate it. And also, even though Altman says it's costing them money, always say please and thank you to your AI. Because when Skynet takes over, you want to be on their good side. So just always be polite to your AI too. But yeah, I hope everyone got at least a little bit of value here. This is kind of, I took you through an example that I went through in terms of right sizing clients who are going to be, selling their home and, likely moving on to the next one. So I guess we can just kind of close it off here. Are there any questions, insights, maybe shares that we want to have? This is your time. I'll open it up to anyone.
So as I'm saving these and I'm telling it, save this as the construction ICP, I can then refer to it by that language and it'll go back to it, correct?
You should be able to. And what you can do is in your session, you can start another chat, like just another blank window, and you can prompt it, be like, hey, do you remember my construction ICP? Can you just like summarize it back to me, please?
Okay.
Yeah, it should. I'll be honest. I pay, like I'm on their premium subscription or whatever, because we do so much with this stuff. And so I don't know if that's like a level of my subscription where how much memory it can hold versus if you're not paying for it. So there might be some like memory limitations, but it should remember it if you tell it to. Cool. Any other questions? That's it. Just mind blown? Is that like, holy shit, what was that? Or is it
really awesome?
Really awesome. Okay, cool.
Holy shit, what was that?
Holy shit, I like that reaction.
Thank
That's
you.
great. Cool. Well, everyone, I really appreciate your time. I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Jared Blue Pebble. I guess everyone pretty much knows me here, so I totally forgot to introduce myself. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out. Whether you're one of my friends from the business community or a real estate agent, whether Blue Pebble or externally, always here to help you guys out with this stuff. We're going to have, I got my first vacation in like 18 months coming up, and I'm gone for 2 weeks. And so thank you, Tiara. I'm gone for 2 weeks starting tomorrow, which is why we need to kind of push part 2 back to, I believe we're doing it May 20th or May 21st, that Wednesday. So if you're not already on the invite, please let me know. Cass and I can get you on it. We're going to be doing the second session where we take your ICP, we generate more marketing content for you, so you can just get going and start talking to your ICPs. And then we're also going to set up some Google campaigns at the very end, so that way, hopefully by the end of the class, you will have a Google campaign set up, ready to go. And then it's just a function of creating the landing page or directing that traffic wherever you want it to go. So that's what we'll do for part 2. Thank you, everyone. Really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you for your participation. And I'll see you all soon. So thank you very much.